Hey guys, I'm going to talk to you about one of our first workplace games called the product game. Okay? But before we get there, I'm just going to review a little vocabulary with you. Remember, the word product means in math the answer to a multiplication problem. Okay? So I'm actually going to start with the answer and put it over here. And it's important to know that the two numbers that multiply together to get a product are each called a factor. So a factor times a factor equals a product. Okay? So for instance, 3 times 4 equals 12. In this problem, 12 is the product and 3 and 4 are both factors of 12. Okay? So let's review how to play the product game. You'll have a sheet that looks like this. And the object of the game is to get 4 in a row on the board. Okay? The 4 in a row can be horizontal, vertical, or diagonal. It really doesn't matter. Okay? So you're going to have 2 players in the game, and what you need is just something to mark your spots. You can have 2 different colors like I have, or you can use X's and O's like tic-tac-toe. And you need 2 little markers for the circles down here. I happen to have 2 game pieces from a random game in our house. I've used little Lego men before. Whatever you can use is totally fine. So I'm going to be player 1. So Mrs. Worsley. And we'll say my husband is player 2, Mr. Worsley. Okay? So we are going to do rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and to see who goes first. So I'm going to win this one to demonstrate. So I'm going to go first, and I'm going to choose 2 factors that multiply to get a product that I'd like to have on the board. So an easy one for me is to choose something that will multiply to 20, and I already know that 4 times 5 is 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put my 2 pieces on 4 and 5 down here, and I am going to be the color orange, or I can be O's, and I am going to circle my product. Okay, I know that 4 times 5 is 20. So I'm going to actually write that equation. Each player writes each equation on each turn. Okay, remember an equation involves an operation and an equal sign. Okay, so I know that 4 times 5 equals 20. That's my turn. Okay. Now, player 2, or Mr. Worsley, he only gets to move one of the factors to get a different product where he would like to try for 4 in a row. So, Mr. Worsley might move his piece to a multiplication equation that he knows. He only gets to move one piece, remember, okay? So he's going to choose 3 times 5. He knows that 3 times 5 equals 15. So he will get to pick up his green marker and put an X over 15. Okay? The game moves back and forth like that. Back to player 1, or me, Mrs. Worsley, I only get to move one of these pieces. I do not get to move 2. So I want to look around the spots that I've chosen, around 20 from my last turn, to see where I can go to make a new product to get me 4 in a row. So I know that 5 times 6 gets me 30, so I'm going to actually move the green piece that was on the 3 to the 6, so I can write a new equation. 5 times 6 equals 30. And I get to circle that spot. Okay? Once again, Mr. Worsley can only move one piece at a time, okay? So he might want to go for 25. This is a rule of the game that the 2 pieces can actually be on top of each other. He has one factor of 5, so he can move his other piece on top of the 5 to make the equation 5 times 5 equals 25. It's okay to have 2 pieces on top of each other, okay? So he gets to put an x over the 25. So we would go back and forth until someone gets 4 in a row. Sometimes it's not that easy because I might not have a product that uses 5 as a factor, and I know that one of them will need it on this next turn. So going back and forth, it's fun. It's a great way to practice your multiplication facts, and remember that a factor times a factor is a product.